An absolutely crazy week for crypto markets. What does it mean for you? Stick around, find out, question everything, trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. It's your boys, Keeper and Crusader. We're here on a Sunday. Loving the Sundays, bro. Been looking forward to streaming all week. What the heck am I hearing in the background?
Hold on, bro. I got some audio issues.
Keeper and Crusader. We're here on a Sunday. Sundays, bro. Been looking forward to streaming all week.
I'll be right back. Just continue the show.
I love listening to myself. I'll tell you what, it is fan-freaking-tastic. Crusader's over there, I believe, so all y'all know why you just heard that. I think he's setting up a little TikTok live action, trying to stream on multiple platforms once in a while. We have a little bit of a technical issue, but hey, no big deal there. He'll be right back. If you haven't already smashed that like, make sure to do that. We've got a big show today. We've literally got, I think, 8 different topics that we're going to hit on today. So stick around. Super excited about it. Let me jump into the chat first here while we're waiting on Crusader. I actually thought we have a little private, I can see the chat differently than you guys see it. So you guys see it on YouTube. Obviously, we're seeing it from our streaming service. And I was going to shout out OC Pet Doctor, which I will because I saw him first. But shout out to OC Pet Doctor for shouting out Rabbit, I believe, is the name for the first person in the chat. So welcome. Thank you guys for all being here. As always, we got one of the DCA fam, Kenton Smith, in the house. Who else we got up in here today? We have, Patricio, ¿qué pasa? Good to see you, brother. And scrolling down. We've got Matthew Barnes, Kyle Downey, Drew. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Actually, Drew, I need to reach out to you about something. So maybe shoot me a text and I'll reach out to you afterwards. And then Vlad, good to see you as well. All right, cool. While Crusader's finishing checking that out, let's take a look at the crypto markets. We always start there. Let's take a look at the market caps, see where things are at, and we will start there. The global, let me update this. The global market cap's at 1.22 trillion with a T dollars. That's up 0.26%. We've got trending up top. What do you know? XRP up 6.61%. Not a surprise there. And then Pepe and Bitcoin. All right, so Bitcoin's at 30,389. Pretty flat right now, but still in the green. ETH making a little bit of a move at 1937. It's up over about 4% on the week, which is good to see. XRP at number 4, up 63.73% on the week. We all know why that is. We are going to talk some XRP today as advertised, so make sure to stick around for that. BNB down just a hair. The rest of the top 10 just kind of sitting flat, except for the 8, 9, and 10 spot are all down a couple to a few percent. Not really sure what's going on. I think Cardano is just down because it made a pretty decent sized move. And a lot of times when you see these bigger moves in the crypto space, you'll see a correction. It can't just always be up and to the right. Same thing with Dogecoin and Polygon Matic. All those had some big moves. Solana, however, at number 7, I skipped over because it's usually down and not worth talking about, is up 2.5%, 2.6%, and up 32.4% on the week. So a lot going on in the crypto markets. Okay, so Crusader, are you back and ready to shed some alpha on the charts and show the people what Chart Prime has to say about what's crack-a-lacking? You ready for that?
Oh, yeah, let me show you some of that real quick. Let me set up my indicators here.
Get a little bit of that TA love going on. Sophisticated dirtbag fly fishing. That's a great name right there. It says, yo. I'm trying to figure out how are you a sophisticated dirtbag and what does it have to do with fly fishing? I don't know, but great name. So shout out to you, brother. Glad that you're here on a Sunday. All right, you got it pulled up, brother.
Yep, there you go. I got it now. I was on the wrong chart, so I had to change it. But here we go. So Chart Prime coming through with the easy indicators for all types of beginners, which is why I like these indicators. It's easy to read. You don't need to be a analyst, expert to start learning how to use these indicators. So it's a good place to start. So basically here on Bitcoin, if I jump out to the daily on the 30-minute, and out to the daily here, you guys can see the dynamic reactor is positive. It's bullish right now. It's in the green. The prime assist is also green. Prime scores in 8 out of 10, which is a smooth. We're also consolidating, as you see here. We also have a strong consolidation at this price level. There is some resistance here at 31,000. You've known that 31,000 has always been a kind of problem area. Right now for Bitcoin, just has a lot of resistance, but we are at the lower end of this predictive range. We've kind of fallen out of it. So take it back above this predictive range at 31,000. Clearly, you know, we're going to have to make some big moves here, but that 31, 32 is going to be difficult. As you can see here on the oscillator, we did get a reversal. We did get an overbought. We've kind of pulled away, but we've still been kind of consolidating, creating some type of bullish, bear divergence here, because price has been going sideways while the oscillator has been going down. The RSI has also cooled off, gone into the neutral area, and down here, the trend fusion, for whatever reason, did not load right now, but let me...
Sometimes it takes a half a second. I don't really know why, but it takes a half a second to load. Yeah. I think it's because a lot of these indicators, and you'll see this. So guys, just so you know, as he's pulling that up, there is 1 month free if you want to check out Chart Prime. We've got the link down below. But one of the cool things about the indicators on here is almost all of them are not actually a lagging indicator. And so it will update like systematic, boom, boom, boom. And so I've really liked it as I've been doing a little bit of trading with it as well. It's been pretty daggone accurate. All right.
Good. Yeah, dude, it's pretty good. It's pretty easy. Now that I was able to reload, I actually got some different readings. We are between the two golden lines of this predictive range instead of in the other chart. Also, so we're below it. So I guess it didn't load in properly. But that means the top golden line is 32,900. Obviously, it's going to be difficult. That's going to be resistance. We've been trying to break that 32,000 for a while and haven't been able to. We got the reversal signal with the red triangle here coming down, but we kind of neutraled out with some bearish divergence. RSI as well has been hit neutral, and the money flows on the negative end right now. So we'll see if Bitcoin can hold these levels. But if Bitcoin above this 30,000 area, right, and we start breaking below, we're going to be hitting this 28 is this next level of support down here, and that's going to start creating some problems here for Bitcoin for sure. We could be seeing lower levels for Bitcoin if we can't hold this 30,000.
Yeah, holding 30,000 is a big one for a number of reasons. One, obviously the technicals, but secondly, that's just a big whole number. And we've seen in trading, if you've watched at all over the years, you'll see the 10K was a huge number, 20K was a huge number, 30K, 40K. And so that's a common thing that you will see. I do want to take a quick second just to remind everybody, we are here Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Mondays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing Around the Charts. That is a panel style where we dive into TA. So make sure if you guys are trying to figure out what's going on in the markets that you check us out there. And then on Sunday, we kind of dive through the week and have a back and forth debate crypto style kind of banter with everything that we've been seeing in the crypto markets over the week. So we're glad that you are here. All right, smash that like. Let's get into it. Let's check out the macro markets and things that's going on. We've got Raoul Paul. I haven't seen his name in a little while. Speaking on what he's... What's that?
I haven't said anything.
Oh, God, I'm hearing myself speaking. Macro guru Raoul Paul predicts imminent parabolic rally for crypto, says Fed creating crisis to monetize U.S. debt. So I thought this was interesting. It says, according to Paul, the macro backdrop suggests that a crisis is coming and the Federal Reserve will have very little choice but to come in and introduce bailout packages. He said maybe that's the reason the Fed is tightening rates even further, is to create a crisis so they can cut rates so they can monetize the debt. Because if they don't, they have to print more money because the interest rates are higher to pay for the debt payments. That becomes a total catastrophe. The key point is liquidity up. It says traditionally debt monetization is when a government borrows money from its central bank to fund expenses. In this case, the U.S. government could sell bonds directly to the Federal Reserve, prompting the agency to issue fresh liquidity. So, Crusader, is it a good thing or bad thing the way that it appears they're trying to go about this right now? Effectively forcing the Fed to buy up bonds as opposed to just introducing a bunch of new money into the system. Is this just another way to kick the can down the road? Or do you see this as maybe a creative way to possibly help out with the markets?
Dude, honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know, because they're so creative on how they do certain things that sometimes they make it seem like it's a great idea, right? And then you're like, yeah, totally makes freaking sense. It's gonna definitely help you out. And then at the end, long term play, it screws you one way or another. So, is it creative? Yes. Is it going to help us? I don't know, man. I go back. I regress to my natural understanding of the dollar's been screwed so hard for so long, and no matter what they do in the short term or long term, there is no recovering the scars that are being left on the dollar. Is the dollar going to go to zero tomorrow or by the end of the decade? Probably not. If you know anything about math, you can approach zero almost infinitely and still not hit zero. So that's the way I see the dollar going, just forever towards that zero, but never reaching it. And what they do in the meantime, I think is just band-aids to the bleed out that's happening.
Yeah. Band-aids on a bullet wound. We've created the bullet wound a lot of different ways. One of it obviously was printing enormous amounts of money for, effectively, if you ask Crusader and I, a fake pandemic. Excuse me, but I don't want to get us kicked off on here, so I won't dive any further into that. But yeah, the reality is, for me, I see the DXY is absolutely bleeding out. If you're paying attention to financial markets, you got to look at the dollar and see what's happening there. And so the crazy cool thing about being involved in crypto is this is another way for you to be able to try to beat the markets. This is another way for you to have exposure to assets and liquidity on the move up, because a lot of times as that dollar goes down, people are searching and they're saying, well, where can I go to? I actually talked to a financial advisor the other day. Usually don't put a lot of weight into what they're saying, but he said something that really made sense to me. We were sitting in the sauna after a workout, just kind of chatting about real estate, financial markets, talking to a real estate guy, just having, one of those conversations. And I asked him, I said, well, hey, you're probably not going to like what I have going on with my portfolio. Lots of freaking crypto in there. But what would you recommend buying right now? I just wanted to pick his brain because I always am interested to see what these guys say. First thing he said was, I actually wouldn't get on you about the crypto thing. I'm just not allowed to, at this point, be able to promote that. He worked for Edward Jones. I said, okay, I've heard that story a million times. What would you say? And he said, actually, right now, the bond yields are where to go. And it's interesting. This article, as we look at it, they're talking about selling bonds to the Fed. And effectively, he said that the bond yields right now, you can get 7.5%, 8% on bonds. And that's one of the safest, most sound opportunities in investments, period. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens if they do start selling bonds to the Fed and people are dumping money into the bond markets. I think it could be good, but like Crusader said, it's probably just a Band-Aid on a bullet wound long term. We have got to get something figured out. I don't know what it's going to be. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be just complete and utter chaos and fallout that we actually have to deal with, which is why I've been talking for a while about seeing another big drop in the markets. I did a TikTok on it the other day. Maybe it was yesterday. And it's part of the reason why I believe we are going to see more and more chaos, because, there's no soft landing, ladies and gentlemen. Announcement, heads up, no soft landing in sight. That is a way to scratch your back and tell you something that is a true lie, a true lie, a true lie. No, that is absolutely a lie. So if you haven't already smashed that like, make sure to smash it. Let's take a little shift over to your boy, Alex Mashinsky. If you don't know who Alex Mashinsky is, let me pull up. Where is this one? Hold that thought. Oh, here it is. Alex Mashinsky, the former CEO of Celsius, set bail for him at $40 million. Former Celsius boss Alex Mashinsky is set to be released on bail. He's been locked up after agreeing to a $40 million personal recognizance bond. Let me scroll down here. Alex Mashinsky, the ex-CEO of crypto lender Celsius, will be released on bail after he was arrested and charged with fraud on Thursday. Per court documents, Mashinsky has agreed to $40 million PR bond, is what most people will call it, personal recognizance bond, which has to be signed by his wife by Friday, July 14th, and by another yet to be identified financially responsible person before July 21st. First of all, let me touch on this. I hope his relationship with his wife is solid and sound, because if he is relying on her and he has, upset the home front, good luck on that one. Under the deal, Mashinsky is required to hand his travel documents to authorities, with his travel restricted to New York. Additionally, the crypto lender's former CEO is barred from opening any new financial, business, or personal bank accounts, lines of credit, cryptocurrency accounts without the approval of pre-trial services, reads the documents. So just wanted to touch on this. But I think this is interesting, Crusader. When these judges set a PR bond, a PR bond is set because you're not a flight risk. But what was the first thing they said that they did with Alex Mashinsky in this case? They said they took all of his travel documents. So does it really come down to the fact that he's able to pay an ungodly amount of money to be able to ultimately bond out? And that was really all they're interested in? Because normally a PR bond is just like, hey, this dude isn't a flight risk. He doesn't have some crazy record, blase, blase, blah. Let's let him out. He pays a little bit of money, or he just says, hey, I'm going to show up. But on the tail end of that, if he doesn't show up, this is further into the article, but if he doesn't show up, he does face a number of, like, a bunch more felony charges. So as per he has said, they're going to fight this case. What do you think about the whole Celsius debacle? Should he have been arrested, Crusader? Do you think that this was actually a game plan from the start? Or do you think things just kind of got out of hand in a business that maybe truly they weren't ready to roll forward in the way that it did?
Yeah, man, I don't know him from the beginning, but I think a lot of people came into this space saying, hey, this space isn't regulated. Well, let's go in there and let's just make things happen, and we'll roll with the punches as it goes, right? And what's the worst that can happen? It's not regulated. We'll fight things in court left and right, right? And they know most of these people that do financial crimes like this, whether it's their first time or not, when they come from big money, they have good advisory, right? They have good legal consulting, and they know that at the end of the day, long term, they probably just have to pay a really big fine. Just how when banks are laundering money for $1 billion, they pay, maybe 300 million, and then they profit the rest, right? So I think it's kind of one of those plays as well. But it is showing that moving on forward, the game's over, right? People can't just come into crypto and pull a fast one on anyone, because they are onto you now. And I think they're setting the example moving forward. This game of just scamming business, scamming people out of their crypto is over. And people are going to have to back away from that and have to come in with legitimate business ideas.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's going to push forward. We've talked about this before, but I think this next bull run is going to be utilitarian. What's actually working? What's solving problems? What's good for the crypto space and our monetary system? And I think that there's some really cool ideas wrapped up in things like Celsius. I think the other interesting part of it is, effectively, I think the government is scared of some of the ideas that were presented in a case like Celsius, where people can ultimately take loans against their crypto, and these crypto these crypto companies end up becoming basically lending platforms. They end up becoming the bank, and the banks, as many of us know, rule and run the roost when it comes to our world, right? Everything comes down to the dollar and how much money can I make. And when that is trivial, like when that is put into a spot where people not getting into the traditional ways, like when the banks see a threat, they want it taken care of. And so I think that that's mixed in there as well. While some terrible decisions were made, some people lost a lot of money, like the lady that we interviewed that lost like $1.2 million, which was terrible. While all of that happened, I personally don't think that it was probably a plan. I think you're right. I think they're pushing forward, trying to be innovative, trying to push forward new ideas. And, the house of cards just finally fell because they weren't prepared for the tail end, and probably didn't have their liquidity locked up the way that they should, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see what happens. He is bonding out, and we'll kind of keep an eye on the case and keep you guys apprised as to what's going on. All right. So before this next article, I want to tell you, Crusader, just a quick little story. So we're going to talk about XRP here in a second. So over the weekend, a good friend of mine owns a supplement company. He had a huge event, and I effectively was tasked with the service of being personal security for Jay Cutler, 4 or 5-time Mr. Olympia, Jen Dory, who won the Olympia last year. I'm talking about in bodybuilding, by the way. And then also, a lot of you might know Joey Swole, if you pay any attention to anything as it relates to weight training and all. He's super popular, like 8 million on TikTok and a bunch on YouTube, whatever. At any event, I was standing behind the table, just kind of doing my thing, paying attention to everything. And they were having problems with the payment processor, and they were getting frustrated. And I hear out of the corner of my, from my earshot, I hear Joey say, what would solve this problem? XRP. And I'm like, I hadn't talked to anybody about crypto at that point, really. And I was like, hey, Joey, what did you just say? He's like, bro, Like, do you know what XRP is? And like, you know, he obviously had no idea what, you know, we do. And I kind of chuckled and I was like, yeah, I absolutely know what XRP is. Talk to me about it. And we come to find out that Joey is a huge bull as it relates to XRP. Fast forward, we've been kind of texting back and forth. I'm looking forward to having him on the show, Crusader. So listen, this is a big man. You know what I mean? You better watch your tongue when he comes onto the show because you know, he throw you around. You talk too much trash about his beloved XRP. Okay. So just gave you the fair warning. You know what I mean?
Poor uneducated guy.
Well, I don't think he's poor, but you know, I guess the argument could be made that he's actually incredibly educated because Ripple XRP has been pumping. So let's talk about that. Let's get into it. Smash the like if you haven't already, guys. All right, so Ripple next win. Speculation rises for potential IPO following the SEC victory. It says after nearly 3 years of legal battles, the U.S. court declared XRP a non-security digital asset, winning against the SEC. The decision marked a significant win for Ripple, the XRP community, and the broader crypto industry. However, the favorable court outcome has sparked discussions about Ripple's plans in the pipeline, including the potential for an IPO, an initial public offering. This was an interesting one I want to touch on. This was a Twitter post. He says, here's the recap I posted numerous times. Number 1, Ripple victory. Check. Number 2, exchanges relist XRP. We're going to talk about that a little bit here too. Check. Number 3, Ripple IPO across stock exchanges. Has not happened yet. That's what we're talking about. Number 4 is where it gets a little interesting. XRP is a bridge currency for the CBDC. Okay, I could see it. I could get on board. Has not happened yet. And number 5 is where it gets a little wild for me. XRP as a U.S. reserve currency. And yes, with only 500 XRP, you will become a millionaire. And I want to stress that if 500 XRP makes you a millionaire, your boy Keeper is going to be incredibly wealthy. So don't worry, Crusader. As I've been telling you, I got you, bro. I got you. It says an IPO would provide Ripple with substantial capital influx and enhance its credibility as a regulated entity. It could also attract a broader range of investors, including institutional players who have been cautious about entering the crypto space due to regulatory concerns. Okay, Crusader, you have not been on here since the announcement. So I was on Thursday when this effectively got blasted out there. You were actually the one that told me that it happened, which made it even a little bit more fun. What are your thoughts? So they win the case, right? What are your thoughts? I just want to hear kind of somebody that hates XRP. What do you
We
think?
knew the case was going to come to an end. They won the case. Awesome. Where's the 589? Where's the explosion in price? Why is it pulling back? Right. So it's nothing that wasn't expected, right? Everyone was expecting this to occur. That we already had multiple times different news articles about the court case and how things were progressing, and things were progressing that way. I think if XRP would have lost, it would have been a massive shocker. Like nobody would have seen that coming because that's not what the information we were getting from the court case in general. So it pumped to like 80-90%, whatever it was. Didn't hit $1. And yeah, I still stand the same exact way. You know what else pumped? Matic went from like 50 cents to like 80 something cents as well. Cardano pumped like 30-40% as well. So what's so special about XRP, right? Now the states have said it's not security. It got listed on exchanges same day on Coinbase and many other exchanges. What's holding up the price? Where is the demand for all the XRP? It's been like 5 days.
So let me pose this a little bit.
We're not $100 yet.
Why aren't we at $100 yet? I don't think, I think anybody that had their head screwed on straight knew that when they won this case, it was just not going to absolutely explode. I heard a lot of people say that. I have not been one of them. I knew we were going to have a nice pump, and then, we're not in the bull market right now. And ultimately, I think what's interesting is, and this I will give you, I think it's interesting that all the people that have been holding for so long, right, sat on their hands when this happened. I really think so, because they had been in at probably a really good entry point. And now here's my question, and this is for the XRP community. If you truly believe that it's going to even $5, why are you not loading up at 80 cents or whatever we're at right now, right? $10, $100. I mean, that's the only thing that I can't grasp. It is back on exchanges. It is easy to access at this point. Anybody could buy it just about anywhere. Why are they not continuing to load the truck right now? I will give you that. But at the same time, I think it's great for crypto, dude. I think that ultimately winning against the SEC, oh, I like that. I think that ultimately winning against the SEC has and is going to be beautiful for the crypto space. It shows that you can stand up against these tyrants, that you can absolutely fight the system that is in place. The problem is you got to have a lot of money to do it. And coincidentally, the SEC.
But all the money in the world is going to XRP. Every
a-
bank in the world is using it, right? Every
a good
single
point.
person in the world is going to be using XRP now. Why are we not at $10?
Why
Why
are
do
we-
we even see a pullback? Why are we pulling back? Who's selling XRP? Who's selling XRP? I mean, I thought this was going to take over the world.
No, see, I think so here's an interesting thing. You said this to me earlier. Apparently, there was a Canadian exchange that listed XRP like 2 days
It's the
before.
Canadians selling.
There it is. So I think that it would have been an interesting, had we have got that information, that would have been an interesting play as per a trade. You see it get relisted and you're like, hey, wait a minute. We think the case is going to be up soon. It's relisted on an exchange. I want to know in the chat, did anybody take profits on XRP? I saw Wendy doing a TikTok about saying like, XRP pumped whatever. Yet I'm sitting here watching you. None of you have taken profits. I want to know, has anybody taken profits on XRP? And has anybody been buying it since it got relisted? So drop that in the chat. Let us know what you guys are doing with XRP, because as the next article shows, and I'm just going to touch on this because a lot of you know,
saying he bought some this morning at 76.
Okay.
Dave Digital says it's a healthy correction. Yeah.
Well, I would
up 1,000 XRP at 80 cents.
I would agree. I would agree with the healthy correction. It can't just continue to go up into the right.
What do you mean? It's taken over the world. Every dollar of the world that ever exists is going into the XRP ledger. How can it go down?
Touche. So yeah, Kraken, crypto.com, join Coinbase and relisting XRP after the ruling. So, we see all of these different exchanges relisting it. Let me actually stop that right there. And then I had one more thing I wanted to show here. The drum roll, please. Here we go. This is where I think it's important right here. The ripple effect. Crypto market soars 73.5 billion with a B dollars after the judge's ruling in the XRP case. Says positive gains spread across the board as Ripple's partial win against the SEC uplifts the crypto market's spirits. It says the crypto market cap jumped 5.7% in 24 hours, which is huge. For those of you who don't understand, that is a massive number to jump in 24 hours. Following that ruling that found XRP not a security. The total market cap was touched 1.3 trillion, adding 73.5 billion, or trading 6% higher yesterday. So let me ask you this, Crusader. Do you believe that there is going to be an influx of new money coming into the markets now that there has been a precedent, so to speak, in a massive asset in the space saying, hey, that one's not a security. So do you think that's part of why the pump happened, I guess is more what I'm saying. And do you think you see more of that happening? Are the institutions going to be more comfortable buying and selling some of these now not unregistered securities? Is it going to change things, or is this just a blip in the radar and we're going to continue moving forward as per normal?
I mean, honestly, I don't think it changes things too much. I think it keeps, because they only declared XRP not a security, right? It's not that they declared every single altcoin not a security. So there's still going to be speculation on other altcoins. Who's going to be the next one to get sued, right? Who's going to be the next one to be deemed a security? The only other one would be Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has been declared a commodity multiple times. The spot ETFs are being taken seriously by the SEC right now, with BlackRock and Fidelity getting involved. It's like it adds up to like $27 trillion of asset managers that are coming in to apply for spot ETFs.
Yeah.
So I think meanwhile that progress is happening. It's bear market as usual. Things aren't going to really be changing up too much. And as per usual, right, in a bear market, you see rallies. You see pretty decent rallies.
Yeah.
I believe it was in 2019, Bitcoin rallied all the way up to like 14K from like 5 or 6 all the way to 14K before coming down. And that pumped all the altcoins as well. massively, then you continue the bear market as per usual into 2020, right? All the way up to 2021 when we started the bull market again. And so I think nothing really changes there. Everybody enjoy the rally, right? Take your profits if you're taking if you're going to take profits, and enjoy it. But it's not. It's short term. It's short lived. The bear market is still going on, and until we see something massive like the spot ETFs being approved, and I don't know what's going to happen with these presidential elections and the people that are the candidates that are running for president talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I don't expect anything until 2024.
I saw Zach Rector talking about how, strap in, that this is just the start of the ride.
They've been strapped in for many years, and they have been starving to death on that chair, waiting for the rocket to take off.
I know. But he was talking about
I
how
holding my breath on it.
He was talking about how he sees it going to $10 and then back to like $3, like some wild freaking.
But why back to $3? Okay, let's say yes. $10.
I don't know. Boom. I don't know.
Why $3? Who's gonna sell it? It's the greatest asset in the world. It's taking over everything. Who's gonna sell it and dump it back to $3?
I don't know I don't know why there would be that wild of a swing. I absolutely, like I've told you, I'm selling half of my XRP at $5, just under $5, right? So that'll be, now obviously not enough to move a market, but like the big chunk of XRP, boom, considering, right? And I think a lot of people will do that, right? And then hold maybe their moon bag or whatever the case may be. But a 70%, fluctuation to the downside might be a little extreme.
It's Fugazi.
Nobody actually believes in the narrative that XRP will take over the world. Because if
you don't think so, I think people do believe it.
I'm saying no. People that watch content believe it, right? They get herded and sheeped into these mentalities and these narratives. The people saying it are the ones that are lying, are the ones that are.
Oh, you don't. So hold on a second. So I have been very open about the fact that I believe in XRP. I think it's going to do really well, but 5, 10, maybe $20 at some point down the road. And I've been very open about that, right? So you're saying that you think that a lot of the people that are telling people this is going to these wild numbers are going to actively take profits and take advantage of their followers in the meantime.
Of course they're going to take profits. They're definitely going to take profits. And they're talking about how there's going to be a massive pullback, right? If you truly believe the narrative that you're selling, why would you believe that there would be a massive pullback if it is going to take over every single dollar, right? When they talk about not Fed now, when they talk about the
what, Swift?
Swift, there you go. Swift says it's going to take over every single dollar that Swift handles. Why if it did that, why would it be having massive variations in price like that? Do you see any other currency currently having massive fluctuations like that? No, right? So why would XRP be able to hit $100 and then fluctuate down to $10 again?
Yeah.
Well, nobody in the world is going to be using it if it's going to be doing something like that in these institutional banks. Nobody wants that level of volatility. So why would that be happening? If they were to actually adopt it, they will, like the buyback or whatever the ideas are of 50,000, $100, 589, whatever number it's going to hit, it's going to stay there because they want it to be stable at those prices, and that's how it's going to take over the world.
I've said that a lot too, that I think that the way that XRP would make sense to do what people say that they want it to do, let's say taking over the Swift system, I think that it would make sense for it to be some sort of effectively a stable coin, because I don't see how, with incredibly volatile swings, and I got absolutely trashed on TikTok for talking about this, right? People are thinking that I'm like, getting paid to talk. Listen, I don't have that much influence, first of all. Second of all, I got a bunch of XRP, so I want to see it do incredibly well. Like, no doubt I want to see it do well, but I'm just a realist, and I recognize the fact that we've said this before too, the elites are not going to let Keeper wake up as a multi-billionaire tomorrow. It's just not happening, right? At $50,000, I forget if I'm worth 5 billion or 50 billion. It is a lot of freaking money, in the grand scheme of things. And there's a lot of people that have a lot more XRP than I do, right? It's just not a reality. And the second thing would be, if it's going to be transferring money. Now, I know these computers are incredibly powerful and they can make the calculation immediately, but how would a government want to use that under the premise that they don't exactly know what the exchange is going to be or what that's going to look like, but we'll be around here? That's what doesn't make sense to me. So I am with you on that. It just doesn't. If they can't like pinpoint, hey, here's the money going here to here, and it's going to be at this, because if not, what would people do? They have to jump onto the XRP ledger, check out what, and I know it's for banks, it's made for the banks, but let's just say the banks, they have to jump out and check effectively conversion rates as if it was a foreign currency. And because that's how they trade foreign currency markets, they want to know, hey, is this a good trade? Is this a bad trade? Don't do that right now. No, if it's going to take over the SWIFT system, it needs to just happen, period.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's comments here like, oh, pullbacks are normal in the growth of an asset. I completely agree, but we're talking about an asset that is going to take over every aspect of money in the entire world. You cannot be having pullbacks like that, right? Yeah. That's the main argument against Bitcoin from other people like XRP Maxis, which is Bitcoin's too volatile. You have bear markets and bull markets where it has 50 to 80% pullbacks. If you're talking about a 50 and 80% pullback on an XRP asset that's supposed to take over the world, why is it that it's okay for XRP? It's not okay for Bitcoin, right? Yeah. So it has to be the same for both. If you're going to use something that's going to take over the world, that's going to be the world reserve asset, like the XRP Maxis call it, right? It's going to take over all the banks. Like you said, it has to be stable. It cannot be having those fluctuations like that. And I honestly believe, somebody said, oh, are you calling us dumb sheep? I believe that anyone that drinks that Kool-Aid, you can figure it out for yourself what I'm saying. It's just, I honestly don't believe that any XRP person that is selling that idea truly believes it. I think that it's nonsense. And the reason why it's done is because XRP and a few select other cryptocurrencies have cult-like followings, which are great for views, right? And it's a great scheme to get views on your show. That you make it seem like you have secret information that nobody else has, and you're talking about the one asset that everyone is drinking the Kool-Aid on, and that's going to boost your views. That's going to boost your followership, and then every time something happens, it's like QAnon. You see, I told you guys it was coming. It was, but what are you really pointing at? You're pointing at everything, and when something sticks, I told you. It was coming. It was happening. So I think it's just a views thing. You guys got to remember, everybody on YouTube is competing for attention, whether it's YouTube,
including us,
whatever it is, right? You're competing for attention one way or another. Some people are more genuine than others. Other people will BS you left and right just to get your attention.
Yeah, and we try to keep it real with everybody on here. It's just literally who we are. One of the reasons Crusader and I teamed up is because we both recognize with each other, like, hey, we've talked about this a long time ago, but ultimately we had a bank account shared before we'd ever even met in person. And so I knew the genuine person I was dealing with. He knew the genuine person he was dealing with. And so we're going to give you that same thing when we're on here. We're not here to stroke anybody's back. We're not here to tell you, something just for some extra views. But candidly, what he's saying is right. I mean, I don't know the last time I did an XRP video that didn't have 10,000 views. And actually, it might have been the one I did the other day, and I think it's really close to 10,000 views. So it does absolutely grab attention. And so the question then becomes, what's your game plan? That's really what it comes down to. Don't worry about what all these other people are doing or believe. Make a game plan that you're happy with the outcome, and then stick with it. And that's what needs to happen. You set the game plan, you set the rules, you do what you need to do for you and your family, because also a lot of people that are talking about different assets, doesn't even matter, doesn't even need to be XRP. They might be in a different financial position than you are and able to sit on XRP for multiple years because it ain't hurting them. So why not? So I'll talk about it in the there's just a lot of factors that really, change the ball game, so to speak. So pay attention. We will always give it to you straight. So yeah, I know Crusader doesn't like it, but what's that?
Crusader's a hologram.
That's you don't have your green screen. You don't have your actual green screen up today, do you?
No, I don't. Yeah, that's right, baby. I made myself into an AI. I virtualized myself, so I'm immortal now. That's right. They'll never get rid of me.
We figured it would be good for the show. He's actually in the background doing some other stuff for the show, and I'm speaking to AI, which we're going to talk about AI here in a little bit. All right, smash that like if you haven't already. It's Sunday, having some fun on the show, talking through a lot that's happening in the crypto space. One of the things that's happening in the crypto space is, I referred to it earlier, some of what the banks are scared of. Coinbase, I believe, is getting in some trouble again, a little hot water. Coinbase restricts Ethereum and Solana staking in 4 states. The announcement comes after 11 states alleged Coinbase was violating securities laws. So what happened here, right? Ultimately, in a Friday statement, the San Francisco-based digital asset company said that Americans in every state deserve access to the same technology and economic opportunity as people everywhere. Therefore, it would push back against certain states requiring a staking ban. So if we look up California, New Jersey, South Carolina, and Wisconsin have stopped staking for Ethereum and Solana. And I don't know if they've stopped more than just Ethereum and Solana, but Crusader, give me a piece. Why would they stop? First of all, explain to the people that are newer, like what is staking in just a simple form? What is staking, and why would they be pushing back against being able to stake your assets?
I mean, in the most simplest terms, staking, right, is you're locking up your crypto in a smart contract that helps that blockchain that you're on, that you're staking, and in return, you're getting paid back in the same asset that you staked, right? So it's almost like, it's the digital version of mining, of Bitcoin mining, right? When you're Bitcoin mining, you're using a machine that helps out the network, and the network pays you back in Bitcoin. The same thing, but instead of using a machine to help out the network, you are literally using the same token locked up in the smart contract within the blockchain, and the network pays you back in the same token. I think the reason why they're against this is because this is a ways for people to create passive income and generate some good amount of money, things that you can't do storing your money in the bank account, right? So as people become more and more intelligent about staking and secure about it, because obviously there's always risks involved, people are going to realize, instead of keeping my money in the bank account where it's accruing nothing, I'm going to withdraw X amount of dollars, and I'm going to start putting them on these networks that pay me different APYs on staking on their network. And I'm going to actually make my money work for me passively.
Yeah.
And that's going to also go against stock markets. A lot of people invest in stock markets for dividends and long-term plays like that. Same thing. You're investing in an asset that long-term might grow, right? And you're speculating that's going to grow. You're accumulating more of it passively, and you're making up or triple up or whatever it is over time. And that is a threat to the banking system, which wants to keep every single dollar you have so that they can play with it.
Yeah, and ultimately, the other side of that also, or kind of in conjunction with what you're saying, people know that crypto markets you have a lot of exposure to the volatility, which can be a really good thing. And there's what we believe to be a lot of upside coming. So something like Ethereum, you do exactly what you're saying, Crusader. You're staking it. You're passively earning more and more Ethereum while that's locked up, and you're receiving the benefit of that massive price appreciation that is going to come. And so you're right. It could absolutely push people away from traditional forms of finance and into crypto. But listen, the train cannot be stopped at this point. Okay. They can put all of these roadblocks in place. The reality is the roadblocks will be moved. People will drive around the roadblocks. There will be opportunities left, right, and center in the crypto space that we never imagined possible. And it will be something that's going to be hard for probably the banks to compete against. But the reality is, what are we pushing for in the crypto space? To be your own bank, to ultimately be responsible for your own funds and your own future, and not have to rely on a third party that's otherwise screwing you 10 ways from Sunday out of what you should be able to do, and that's earn income. We're already getting hammered, absolutely hammered, as it relates to inflation. So what do we have to save money right now? What do you have to do? Well, it's actually pretty simple and very hard at the same time. You have to outpace inflation at a minimum. And if you look at real inflation numbers and when you look at things like go to the store and energy, a lot of things that they leave out of some of these, inflation numbers, we've got a bare minimum of 10+%. And that is me being really freaking generous. So where can I put my money and earn 10% or more to outpace that inflation? And I think staking long-term can do that and so much more. So yeah, I agree with you on this. It is just a threat. And these banks are pushing on the government to say, hey, listen, they're selling unregistered securities and they're making, effectively dividends, like you said.
The minute Coinbase came out with their lending products, they were instantly attacked.
They're 4% or whatever they were doing.
They're 4%. I think it was a little bit higher. I think they got capped at 4%. Like, hey, you can't go anything higher than 4%. Why not?
Yeah.
when there's clearly arbitrage opportunities out there that are way higher than 4%, but you're capping this centralized exchange, saying you can't promise them better than 4% because they know all the beginners, everybody funnels in through Coinbase. They don't want them realizing, oh wait, there's more than 4% out there that I could be using, because everybody's just going to be funneling their money to Coinbase, and Coinbase is going to become one of the largest banks in the world in crypto, and everyone's not going to be holding their money in stocks and in the traditional banks. I just want to quickly hit a comment here. Kyle says, I'm selling my XRP when Crusader finally buys. Look, guys, if me buying XRP is what will save you guys from this evil XRP sin that you guys are committing, I will absorb this evil for you. Let me know in the comments. If that's what it takes for everyone to sell their XRP, let me know. I will take that, and I will take that loss for you.
What a guy.
I'll buy XRP and you guys sell.
What a guy. The Jesus Christ of crypto. The freaking blockchain crusader. I'll tell you what. Ominous Dominus. God bless you. Yeah, so there is so much happening there with what you're talking about as it relates to 4%, 5%. Why are they capping it? Look at this. An average return on a savings account, just a standard savings account, is like 0.1%. So let me ask you this: risk to reward. If you can 40x that on, let's just say, Ethereum, okay? If you can 40x that by staking Ethereum, do you think you have a 40x downside? No, absolutely not. You only have 100% downside, first of all, to be really clear. But 40x opportunity on whatever money you're putting there, I'll take the downside of, hey, maybe we got some volatility and I got to sit through some of it, especially if you take suggestions in which people tell you, i.e. us, who's not giving financial advice, that tell you, don't be putting your mortgage money in there. Don't be putting money that you need on a regular basis. If you're able to do that, why would that not make sense? It makes a lot of freaking sense. But last thing I want to say, these centralized platforms are the ones that have caused all of the chaos. And the only reason that I haven't been actively participating in staking, because I've got quite a bit of ETH, the only reason that I don't do it is because I don't like the options that I have out there and having to trust a third-party entity to be able to do it. And so that's my issue with it. I've seen so many people lose so much money to a quote-unquote safe opportunity and letting their crypto sit somewhere. The reality is, I know where I think crypto's headed long-term. I know it's going to stay safe in my hardware wallets or my decentralized wallets, depending on what, and that for me is the safe play. And that's just for me.
Check this out. This is a great point of view too by Matthew Barnes here. Says, because when a person can stake themselves, they do not need a professional advisor. Right? How much money do professional financial advisors make by managing your money for you?
1 to 2% is a pretty normal number.
Yeah. But that's a huge amount
huge
of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because they're managing millions and millions of dollars.
And billions and billions and trillions of dollars.
So they're managing a ton and they're making a bunch of money doing something that now you can do in the crypto space. I am my own bank. So see you later, alligator in the bank system. So they're screwed. And then the financial advisors giving you advice are now also cut out when you say, I'm going to just stake my own assets and make passive income off of it. I don't need a financial advisor telling me to do this and paying them a cut or a fee to be able to stake my own assets.
And then they can tell you what you can and can't invest in too. I've got a buddy of mine that's a financial advisor, and if I was going to have somebody do it, it would be him. I trust him. I know he knows markets, blah, blah, blah. The only reason I'm not working with him, two reasons. One, I didn't want to pay him. I think it was 1.5%. It might have been 1.5%. Don't remember. I didn't want to pay that because they take it off, a lot of them anyway, take it off of the initial capital that you put in there too. It's like, whoop, there goes a percent, right? But then number two was that I asked him, hey, what kind of actual control do I have over this and what I can get into out of, and you really don't, depending on who you go with and what, their entity, their corporate entity tells them that they can and can't do.
Exactly, dude. This is another great point here. Zach says, I staked on Celsius and got wrecked. Yeah, I definitely don't recommend staking on any centralized exchange. And then he goes and mentions, I only stake on ADA because it's on-chain. I think on-chain staking is going to be the next big thing when it comes to DeFi. I think in 2022, 2021, everybody realized the dangers of staking on centralized exchanges, and DeFi, decentralized finance, is going to have to evolve onto what ADA and I believe there's a few others that do it as well with on-chain staking. It is really the greatest thing. You're holding your own asset in your own wallet and it's literally on-chain, so you have full control of it at all times. It's not locked up anywhere where you got 30. It takes 30 days to unstake it and then bring it back. And then because the reason why it took 30 days on centralized exchanges and these other places is because they're playing with it, right? They're putting flash loans out there and they're doing all kinds of arbitrage to give you that APY that they're promising you versus the way ADA and some of these other on-chain staking blockchains are doing. You don't have to worry about any of that. So I definitely think that's going to be a next big thing.
The protocols work, and there's a lot moving very fast in the tech, the tech space. One of which leads us into our next. But before I do, make sure to smash the like if you haven't already. We've had around 50 people in here for a while. Thank you guys for being here on a Sunday. We love you. We appreciate you for being here. You could be anywhere, and you're hanging out with us, so we appreciate you. So tech, which means, and it's kind of been the talk of the month or the year or whatever. Everybody wants to talk about AI. Well, this is an interesting one that's happening. You guys have probably heard about it. AI emerges as common enemy for actors and writers in Hollywood. The first joint strike in 63 years grinds productions to a halt over artificial intelligence and compensation. It says the massive Hollywood machine has fully shut down for the first time in a generation as both writers and actors take to the streets on Friday to protest industry plans to embrace AI, among other points of conflict. It says this is the first time in history that a lot of people together are saying this is not okay. We have to fight for our image and voice as an artist, and we have to fight for our rights to income. All right. So Hollywood, effectively, there's all of these different groups that are
pissed about AI.
I know they are. So talk to me about it. Why do you think they're so upset, Crusader? What's the for those of you who don't know, what's the risk here? Why are they so upset?
Everyone's gonna lose their job.
Okay, how?
For sure.
How? Brad Pitt says, "Hey, I want to do a movie." Boom! How's AI replacing him?
They don't need Brad Pitt. Look, this is why AI is going to take over everything. I'm gonna give you two examples. One, it's a Disney Plus show, The Secret Invasion. It's a Marvel show, and in this show, the entire intro of the show was created by AI.
Okay,
it was an AI generated video. That's the entire intro of the show. And people were pissed because you know how many editors and content people that would normally go into an intro for a big show like that. It's a massive show, right? It's Marvel. It's not like a rinky-dink, sitcom. It is a massive show. So that freed up a ton of job opportunities right there. They were pissed about that. So that's just the beginning. Now let's go back to Brad Pitt. Oh, actors and people like that, they're going to still make money. They're still going to make movies. They're still going to make shows. Now let's go to Black Mirror on Netflix. Black Mirror's first episode on this new season, which has been the best episode. Everything else has been trash so far.
Yeah, it wasn't really a good season.
It's weak, bro. After season 5 and on has been super weak compared to the previous. But I digress. So episode 1, it is literally about quantum computing and AI, where they're literally getting the likeness. They're getting actors to sign off on using their likeness.
What was it called? I Hate Jane, or
Hey Jane, Terrible Jane, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Awful Jane. That's what it's called. Awful Jane or something. Point is,
Jane. Somebody tell me Jane is awful. Jane is something.
Something awful in the person's name. Point is, they're getting the actor's face and putting them on a person's body. Another person is acting everything out, or they're literally just accumulating. They're recording this person's life, and then they're literally just CGIing another person's face on it and creating a show. So actors are now going to be getting paid possibly less because they're not going to actually be acting. They're going to be using an AI avatar version of themselves to be acting in these shows. So that's going to, maybe, I'm not saying actors are going to go broke anytime soon, but it's just the way things have been before on a set. Oh, Joan is awful.
Thank you. Thanks, Crypto Dicks.
The way shows are being created in movies right now takes a huge set of people, a crew, a massive crew. That crew is going to be cut by at least 75% when AI begins to take over. And then eventually it's going to be 100%. It's going to be run by a skeleton crew or maybe 5-6 people sitting on a computer using AI generators to create the entire shows. And they're going to that's the way it's going. That's the way it's going for all industry. Script writing, and we're just talking about shows right now or movies. Script writing, acting, introductions, video, all AI, bro. All these people are gonna lose jobs, and they want to secure their jobs by making sure that they pass some type of law that they ban AI from these sets.
I wonder how they could find a happy medium, because I do think, we use ChatGPT to help us with stuff from time to time, actually a decent little bit. And it does make things more simplified, more easy, quicker, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. I wonder how they can find a happy medium where they're not actually taking the person's likeness and just using it to be the actor, or they're not just letting the AI write the entire script. I wonder how, because I also think that we're not at a place, and I don't know this, I don't think we're at a place yet where AI can just absolutely spit out this flawless, script that actually feels exactly as it should. Now, because we as humans put twists and turns and irony and but as the AI continues to get better and gets more information and sees that, yeah, it could absolutely come up with some wild ideas and work. I just wonder if there's a good way for everybody to be able to be happy, where they can use it, but there's got to be some level of, but even with that, it is going to cut down the amount of money. It is going to cut down the amount of money that they're able to make, because I could say, so Crusader, you could be like, hey, Keeper, the Debate Crypto needs an interview for this person, right? And you're like, hey, we'll pay you out of our bank account to go do that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, it should take about this long, blah, blah, blah. Boom. Here's the number. We'll just, pay yourself this. Okay, boom. I sit down, Chat GPT, enter. Thank you very much. And people know that. They know that it can do that. And all of a sudden it is taking a ton of the work away. So what's that do? If I knew my employees weren't working their butt off, swinging a hammer, and I knew that they could kick their feet up, drink a lemonade, and effectively, print whatever, that we're doing, whatever the construction project of what we're doing, I don't need to pay them that much because I already know what they're not doing.
But the caveat to that is AI, like always, like all technology, you would need experts in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's always going to be some level of expertise that is what you're paying for, right? Same thing with these college degrees. People get paid crazy amount of dollars because they have a degree, a certification that says, I am an expert in this. When the plumber comes over and all he does is tweak 2 screws and leaves, he's like, the reason why you're paying me $400 to screw in 2 screws is because I knew what screws they were. You didn't know what they were. So you're paying for my expertise. And that's what it costs. Mm-hmm. So that's where the problem's still going to be, where yes, you're going to save a lot of money because there's going to be a lot less people working for certain industries. But those people that are working will be charging high dollar fees because you want the best AI creators. You want the best expertise in whatever industry they're using to create these things. So there's always going to be that as well.
I'll be interested to see how this plays out because, Hollywood is a massive, massive, massive player just in our economy. Entertainment is what people turn to kind of escape from their life on a daily basis. And ultimately, if they shut all that down for any lengthy amount of time, it's going to hurt. And so I wonder what kind of an agreement they're going to be able to come into or to come to. I think it'll be really interesting. This goes all the way up though. And it brings us into our last topic. This goes all the way up the chain to BlackRock, because ultimately you look at what BlackRock owns and it's freaking everything, including Hollywood, right? And BlackRock has been in the news a lot because of the recent, filing for the ETF. So let's switch gears over to BlackRock and Larry Fink. And let's kind of finish it out with this. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says, crypto will transcend any one currency. The boss of the world's biggest asset manager today continued to sing Bitcoin's praises. There's Larry Fink himself. And, we were talking about asset management. If they're given, if they make 1%, only 1% on their assets, they're making something like $100 billion a year just in that 1%, which we know they're doing way more than that. The CEO of the world's largest asset manager said Friday in an interview with CNBC that although he couldn't talk about Bitcoin specifically, as BlackRock had filed an application with the SEC for a spot market Bitcoin ETF, He has differentiating values, or it has differentiating values versus other asset classes. BlackRock, like I said, manages $9.5 trillion in assets. They applied for this spot Bitcoin exchange. Okay, cool. What about it? Well, he starts to say that we believe we have responsibility to democratize investing. Over the last 5 years, more and more global investors are talking about the role of crypto. And like I said, I do think a lot of crypto is an international asset. More importantly, because it's so international, it's going to transcend any one currency in currency valuation. He continued adding that international crypto product can transcend the problem of the dollar devaluation. Now, this is an absolute turnaround from what they had been saying. They had absolutely slandered crypto and talked about Bitcoin as if it was the absolute devil. How do we go from being the devil to ultimately saying this is an international asset and people, we need to democratize investing? Let me tell you how they go from there. Opportunity. They realize that they can't stop it. Now they're saying, hey, wait a minute, I can get my grimy paws in on this and I can start earning some Bitcoin. I can start earning crypto. I can be a player in this space that's not going to stop. So they can call it democratizing investing all they want. Larry Fink sees one thing: Satoshis. He sees dollar signs. He sees opportunity to make more money in an asset class that he knows is going to explode. So they talk down about it, while in the background, they're positioning themselves to get a better position on Bitcoin, to stack more, to give themselves the ability to do what? To continue to rule the world, point blank, period. What do you think?
They don't want to hold dollars, bro. They don't want to hold dollars
Because they see what's happening to it.
Hold dollars. They understand that, nobody's going to be walking around with a sack of gold to buy and sell anything, right? And more merchants are accepting crypto, accepting Bitcoin. You can travel around the entire world with just a seed phrase in your mind, or a hot wallet in your phone, or whatever it is, and carry millions and millions of dollars completely secure. And you don't need to have any middleman managing what you're doing and controlling your I'm going to buy a car and it's a $5,000 down payment. Let me call the bank and ask for permission so they don't decline my transaction. I got to be on the phone for 30 minutes on hold to access my own money. Versus in crypto, it's just snap of a finger, boom, hit it, and it's yours. You do what you want with it. I think not that they've realized this. I think they've known this. They've just positioned themselves that now's the time to start moving forward. They understand that people have a short memory, and they can now become heroes in what they used to be villains, right? And move on to the next asset. I mean, these asset managers and these elite status companies and people have been doing this since the beginning of time. They use a currency and they're champions of something until that champion is worn out and can no longer fight, and they move on to the next. They know that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are the next thing. They're the transfer of wealth that is happening before their eyes, and they don't want to miss out. And they're not going to. And they're going to accumulate as much of it as possible and control it. And, when it comes to, I forgot who I was listening to. Actually, it was the same guy that wrote the Bitcoin Standard. I always forget how to pronounce it.
Safety Amos.
That guy. He was talking about, I believe it was him. Maybe it's not, but I believe it was him. Was talking about how the biggest problem that people like to point out with Bitcoin is that it's a capped, right? There's only 21 million. How can you run a world reserve currency or whatever on a capped currency like that? There's only so much. And it's because we're used to this fiat system that we're in, that we create more money to create money velocity, so the economy always looks like it's doing well when it's actually not. And he explains, besides that point, he explains that there is no problem with having a limited cap, because unlike fiat, which loses value over time, back in the 90s, you would go to a store, grocery store, and with $20, you would fill up your shopping cart, right, to the brim. Now with $20, you got toothpaste and a toothbrush at best, right? So your $20 doesn't go as far anymore. So when you go onto a limited cap like Bitcoin, the problem isn't that there isn't more. Whenever it's actually the opposite, it's the solution, because it grows in value, right? So every single Satoshi that exists will continuously grow in value, meaning that you might, like the pizza guy, right? He had to pay how many thousands of Bitcoin to buy 2 pizzas?
It was a lot. Yeah.
Now, 1 Bitcoin can buy you a car,
Yeah.
right? And in the future, 1 Bitcoin might be buying you a mansion. And, you know, if you keep thinking of it in that way, you're using less and less Bitcoin as time progresses because it is always constantly growing in value, which solves the problem that you don't need more money for money velocity. You just need to have something that actually grows in value, and the demand will always be there, and you won't have a money problem because there's
Yeah.
enough Satoshis and value to be divisible among everyone else.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And you know, every single Bitcoin is divisible, is divided down into 100 million satoshis. And so you're right. As that number gets larger and larger, there's always going to be that both sides of it. There's always going to be somebody that either needs to spend or sell, or somebody that needs to buy, or like it's going to continue to move hands, because what I view as an opportunity to sell Bitcoin might be different than somebody that bought in 2013, for example, right? What I view as a fantastic opportunity in Bitcoin might be different than somebody that just got into Bitcoin, because I bought at a lot different price point, and that value is a lot different for me. My cost basis where I originally got in is much different than the next person. So that's always going to be there. So I agree. It absolutely can work. I think what the more interesting idea is, does it become like actual gold, like digital gold, that's that reserve, just asset, or are people actually going to spend it? The one thing I will say is, if people were going to actively spend it and use it in that manner, the network has to change. It absolutely would need to
Oh,
be
the Lightning Network, baby.
Yeah, I don't know the speed at which that goes. I mean, obviously,
Pretty fast.
lightning fast. But yeah, so there's just some things that I, from what I understand, that need to change with that. But it is the opportunity. BlackRock does see this opportunity. They're not going to back away from it at this point, and they've positioned themselves talking trash about it for long enough that they've probably got themselves in a nice cozy little spot. Whereas this happens, and they know it's going to happen.
Bitcoin, bro.
Oh, you said all roads lead back to Bitcoin? Well, I sure hope that you are correct, because it will be good for you and I and our families. So, Crypto Fam, listen, we love you. We appreciate you for being here. You could have been anywhere, like I said earlier, on a Sunday. You're hanging out with Debate Crypto. Reminder, Mondays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are diving into the charts, telling you what's going on. And we've got a number of specials that are going to be coming up with some big names that are coming onto the channel. We had Gary Cardone on last week. If you didn't see that interview, you should check that out. Such a brilliant business mind. He was on a few days ago. It was fantastic. We'll be putting out some clips and whatnot of that, but you should really sit down if you've got a few extra minutes to watch that interview. It was freaking fantastic. So we love you. We hope you guys have a fantastic day. Be safe out there. Just remember to question everything.
Trust nothing.
And until next time, hodl
like it's hot.
We'll see you soon.